Hmm. Wow. So I'm just asking, is fighting healthy in a relationship? Is it healthy in marriages? I'm still not convinced because growing up when I was very young and I did live with my biological mother and her husband for a short period of time, they used to fight and it was very scary. They would call each other names and it wasn't pleasant. But then when I from 12 to 17, when I lived with my mom and her husband, the woman who raised me, she was my foster mom. She and her husband never argued. It was because of them. Okay, obviously, of course, until they got divorced. But I thought marriage is wonderful. It's fun. You don't argue. You talk to each other. You go on trips. You take vacations. He would go. He was in the reserve, so he'd go away for a weekend. My mom was taking classes at the college. She'd go away for a weekend. They'd get back together. Sometimes they would go out to dinner alone. I remember thinking, I want to go to dinner, but it was their date night. So those are the kinds of things that I saw them do. They both go to work. They come home. We get up on Saturday and clean the house together. We go places together, Indian baseball games and Browns football games. I mean, it was just a lot of fun, or at least that's what I was seeing. And at night, I was never hearing any arguing going on in the bedroom because their bedroom was right next to mine. So I grew up thinking that marriage was going to be a lot of fun. Well, it is sometimes. I mean, sometimes my marriage is fun. But when we argue, it seems to take me back to the place of when I was younger and my parents would argue, and it seems scary to me. And so I always, at some point, not every single fight, but a couple of them, including the one that we had this day before yesterday, and yesterday, I just thought, okay, that's it. We're just going to call the lawyers. I'm going to move out, or he's going to move out. And then we sat down and had a conversation. And he felt as if he misunderstood what was taking place and why we had the argument in the first place. So we made up. We've done that pretty much every time. Yeah, made up, talked it out, found out where the problem was, what we can do differently. He thinks I want him to be perfect. I don't want him to be perfect. I just don't like when he gets angry. It freaks me out. And I think it's because growing up hearing, my stepfather and my mother argue and scream, it was scary. When people scream and holler, it kind of freaks me out a little bit. I just feel as if, things can be discussed calmly. Because the example I had later in my life was calm, peaceful, but then at the same time, they still wound up getting divorced. But they never called each other names, they never yelled, they never screamed. So I guess, I don't know. Is fighting healthy? Is it necessary? Do you have to fight? My husband seems to be of the opinion that fighting is healthy because it allows me to not always feel as if I have to agree with something that he says. That I can voice my opinion and say, that doesn't make any sense to me, or I don't agree. And sometimes that causes us to have an argument because I will say that. I will say, that doesn't make any sense to me. And then he will continue to explain his side. And sometimes I decide whether I think it's important enough to reiterate my point again. And if it's something insignificant and I just say, well, let's just agree to disagree because that's your side and this is my opinion and my thoughts about it, and I'm not going to come over to your side because your side doesn't make sense to me. And he's not going to come over to my side because my side doesn't make sense to him. So we just agree to disagree about it. I know early on, I felt as if I had to because he was my husband. I thought, am I supposed to agree with him all the time? I think I am. I don't know. I'm confused. I'm not sure. Am I supposed to agree with him because he said it? Based on stuff I was learning from the Bible. Is this how we're supposed to do it because he's the head of the household? So that was all confusing. And now we don't live from that standpoint. We're two human beings that are in a marriage, and there's no head and no tail. We don't do that whole thing. He's my husband, I'm his wife, and we're two human beings, and there's nobody above or below. We're equally in this marriage together. And that used to cause confusion, the whole religious aspect of he's supposed to be up here and I'm supposed to be down here and subservient, and it left me feeling for a long time as if I'm not allowed to voice my opinion, and that was scary to me. So after a while, I just started voicing my opinion. I disagree with this. I think that's stupid. I don't want to go there. No, yes, I am paying for such and such, and yes, I'm going, and I will go without you. There was a time when I think I wanted to take our youngest son to the zoo or the circus. Not the zoo, it was the circus. And he didn't want me to go. I don't want you driving downtown. Well, I already paid for the tickets, and I am going. I'm getting in my van, and I'm driving downtown, and I'm taking him to the circus. None of the older kids wanted to go. I wanted my youngest one to have that experience, so I went. Oh, well, I'll just take you. Fine. You can take me and drop us off, whatever. He wound up staying. Had a good time. So it was an argument that I didn't feel if there was really a winner. I mean, he wound up coming. I don't even know if it has to really necessarily be a winner. I think that you should be able to both express your opinion. And the one thing I don't like is when someone wants to express their opinion so much that they feel as if they just explain it to you 2 or 3 more times, then you'll see the error of your ways and come over to their side. It's not going to happen. A person can have their opinion, even if they might be wrong. Let them be wrong in their own opinion. Let them figure it out on their own. They don't need to have you tell them 5 or 6, 7 times. You see how this is wrong? This is the right. No, don't do that. In my opinion, don't do that. And that's part of what we would argue about sometimes, because he might have been right. But I didn't like the feeling of, well, I'm going to tell you until you understand that I'm right and you come over to my side. No. Let me come to that conclusion on my own. So I'm still not sure if fighting is healthy. Completely. Oh, wait a minute. No. Maybe it is healthy. Because both people get to express their opinion. I think as long as one side is not trying to convince the other side that they're wrong and just expressing their opinion, maybe that's okay. I don't know if that article was right or wrong, but it said that fighting was healthy. I don't know, what do you think? Is fighting healthy in a marriage or a relationship? I'm still not convinced, but we still fight anyway, so we're still married. And I still love him and he still loves me. But some parts of me wishes, kind of, that we could be like my parents when I was 12. We didn't argue and got along so wonderfully. Anyway, that's all for now. Bye-bye for now. Thanks for stopping by my channel. Subscribe. Bye-bye.